Yo, what's going on, buddy? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. As you can hear by my voice, I'm still dealing with COVID, so bear with me. I sound a little congested, sound a little bit fucked up in the voice. But getting into today's video, as you can see by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be talking about college football. And as we know, the college football scene has now gone to a 12-team playoff. We've been with the 14 playoff for the past about 10 years. Now we moved on to a 12-team playoff. And there's a lot of questions surrounding it about one thing in particular that I want to ask. Are we ever going to see an undefeated national champion? As we know, in the college football scene for many years, it's always been one loss, you're done, you're out. Whether it's the beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season. One loss, you are done. Your season might as well just pretty much be over. But then we started seeing with everything going on with the playoff system, we saw some undefeated champs. We also saw a lot of one-loss champs throughout the CFP era. But now with this year being the 12-team playoff and also a lot of mergers, Pac-12 was dismantled. They kind of merged a lot of teams. Some teams went to the Big Ten, some to the SEC. With the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma. We had some teams going to the ACC, the Big 12. There's a lot of different teams changing up the conferences. And I start to kind of beg the question, could we ever see an undefeated national championship again? Because the way we look at the way teams pass are to even just the playoffs, it's getting pretty difficult. So what I want to do is two things. Number one, talk about is it possible, and number two, pretty much like I said, we're going to go over a bunch of teams that actually have like a legit shot to go undefeated this year, and what are the odds of them actually going, like I said, undefeated. So without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to get straight into this. If you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, as you can see here from this website, we have kind of the betting odds for teams' chances for the 2024 college football season of their chance to actually go undefeated. And as we can see, we got the top for, like it says here, yes or no for the chances. If you think they're going to go undefeated, this is the betting chance odds of them going undefeated. If you say no, this right here is obviously what it means. So for example, you look at like Colorado. If you said they were going to go undefeated, it's like a plus 10,000. It's a very long shot. But if you were going to say no, I don't think they're going to go undefeated, pretty much NA, meaning no shit Sherlock. We knew they weren't going undefeated. But you kind of look at this list for like teams that we think are yes. So like Alabama's up there. You got Florida State was up there. They kind of already lost. We've already seen that game. Good job, Georgia Tech. Moving on, you got Georgia's up there. Ohio State's going to be up there. Oregon's up there. Penn State, you could kind of say. Michigan, maybe you could say. There's a lot of teams up here that you could kind of say has a good shot to go undefeated. Texas, I could really see. USC, Utah, maybe could go undefeated. So with that being said, I decided let's go into the FBS and let's kind of go through like a couple of the teams, like I said, that we saw there that have really good odds of going undefeated. And let's look at their schedule, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by when I say this year's schedules are extremely difficult. Let's start off with my favorite team, Ohio State Buckeyes. First few games, Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, who cares? Michigan State's going to be easy. But then we started to get into some beefy games. At Oregon, number 3 Oregon, we're going to Eugene. It's going to be a tough-ass game. At Penn State, it's always tough playing in Happy Valley. And then you got Michigan at the end of the year. We've already lost 3 games in a row to them. That's 3 games, 3 chances. Ohio State could go 9-3. Who knows? Next up, we got Oregon. Oregon could possibly lose a few games. Ohio State, like I said, with Ohio State and Oregon, who's going to win that game? Who's going to be the loser of that game? Plus, they'll also have to play Michigan later on in the year. And not just like Ohio State having to go to Oregon. Oregon has to go to Michigan. That's going to be a tough-ass game for Oregon, especially late in the year in November. Moving on to Michigan, like I just said, they play Oregon later on the year, but they have a few tough opponents earlier on the year. They got Texas in week 2, so Texas, Michigan, you're going to have a loser right there. They also play USC. USC, could they possibly lose right there? Everybody's favorite team in the whole world, whenever it comes to college football, Alabama. They got a lot of games they could lose this year. Georgia, literally 4 weeks in the season, 5 weeks in the season, they could lose to Georgia right off the rip. They got to go to Tennessee. They got to go to LSU. They got to go to Oklahoma later on the year. Like, they got some tough-ass games this year. They could possibly walk away with 2 losses. Getting into Texas, Texas has a couple of games they could lose. Like I said, they have to go to Michigan. So could Michigan lose this game? Texas lose this game? They got the Red River Showdown. Oklahoma, they got to play. They have Georgia. They have Georgia coming into their house, which is a blessing in disguise. But they still have to play Georgia. And then later on the year, Kentucky could be a tough game. Texas A&M, again, they got to go to Texas A&M this time. And then, like I said, with Georgia being probably the number 1 team in the entire country that everybody's going to unanimously agree with, their schedule is beefy. They start off the year with Clemson, right there, right off the rip, possible top 10 team. Then they have to play Alabama later on the year. Going to Alabama, that ain't going to be easy. Then they have Texas, going to Texas. Then they have Ole Miss, going to Ole Miss. And then they have to play Tennessee later on the year. Again, it's a ranked matchup. It is in Georgia, but another ranked matchup. And then who knows what Georgia Tech could be at the end of the year. I know that might be taken as a joke, but who knows what Georgia Tech could be. Georgia Tech could be a sleeper game. I guess long story short is when you look at this rankings, we have a realistic shot for there to be possibly a 2-loss national champion. Like, I'm gonna be saying it straight up. I'm an Ohio State fan. I feel like we're gonna lose at least one game this year. Georgia might actually lose a game this year. I feel like Texas is gonna lose a game between Michigan and Georgia. They're gonna lose one game somewhere in there. Like I said with Oregon, they're probably gonna lose a game in there somewhere. Alabama, they're gonna lose at least one. Ole Miss could possibly lose a game in there. Notre Dame, they always lose at least one. Penn State always loses to either Ohio State or Michigan. Like I said with Michigan, they have a chance to lose. Florida State already lost. We are not going to get an undefeated national champion. Now, I do want to say right off the rip, it's not a bad thing if we don't have an undefeated national champion. It's not a bad thing at all. We just need to live in the world where if like your favorite team loses a game, it's not the end of the world. With a 12-team system, you can lose a game. They've been saying you could possibly maybe lose a second game. Like if you play in a bad conference, you could easily get in there with 2+ losses. We've seen the way the playoff system has kind of worked in the past, even with the 14 playoff. We've seen teams that have 3 losses get up in the top 10, sometimes even like 11 or 12. As we can see with the 12-team system, all you have to do is just make it in the top 12 and boom, you have a chance for a national championship. Now, I guess the big question is, do I think we are ever going to see an undefeated national champion? I think we will. I think this year in general is just so crazy whenever it comes to the schedule makers. This year's schedules for all teams are just nuts. Now in the future, if the schedules kind of, I guess you could say, dial down a little bit, we have a chance for some undefeated national champions, but this year it ain't happening. In the future, real possibilities though. But other than that, I think I'm gonna wrap up there. Hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you're gonna drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion, do you agree or disagree with anything I said? Do you think we will get an undefeated national champion? Do you think that it's going to be like a 1-loss, 2-loss national champion this year? Whatever your opinion may be, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. I'll be more welcome to talk about with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell. Be notified so I can post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.